Welcome. This is the new super review, and it's the second day in the month of August 2023. Yes, we are in the fresh month. Happy new month to you. And we're back with dissecting and analyzing the newspaper headlines on this program. That's what we do here. If this is the first time you're seeing this video, yes, you're in the right place and, of course, at the right time. So do well to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out again. All right, so subscribe, turn on the notification, and, of course, stay connected to us on all our social media handles. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and, of course, Twitter. So connect with us on all of those platforms to keep informed, because that's what we do here on the program. All right, to do the newspaper headlines with me is Victor Sioko. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
All right, it's a very wonderful Wednesday. A lot is going on. Yesterday, Tuesday afternoon, there was a plane crash in Lagos. Thankfully, no life lost. And then today we have labor strike protest, not a strike, protest, but we still have businesses shut down, like partial shutdown, and all of that here and there. So a lot is going on, and a lot has happened within the last 24 hours. So we're going to, go through all of that on the newspaper pages with you. So do well to also drop your comments. Let's hear what you think about what we'll be discussing shortly. Okay, let's begin today's headlines with Vanguard newspaper. And on Vanguard, we have as headline here from the top here, it says, Court grants Emefiele leave to serve DSS DG, order transferring him to prison after bail. Page 9 is where you get details of that story. Tinubu court reserves judgment on Atiku Obi's petitions. All right, we'll move on to the main headline on the Vanguard here. It says, NLC insists on protest as talks fail. IGP warns against violent protest. Federal government begs Labour to suspend protest. Labour says palliatives not enough to cushion hardship. To brief organs of government plea to suspend protest. Ajero absent at meeting. TUC civil society allies direct members to participate in protest. It's police constitutional duty to protect Nigerians. NLC speaking. All of that you find on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper in details. All right, we'll move on to other headlines still on the Vanguard here. We see 4 persons rescued as plane crashes in Lagos. Page 7 is where you get details. You also see pictures of that crash on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper here. And lastly, I'll take this one. It says, Benue announces 15,000 naira, 100,000 naira allowances for core members and doctors. You find the details on page 13 of the Vanguard newspaper. All right, let's move away from the headlines now to discussing some of these very interesting stories, as most especially that of the NLC. The protest is ongoing as we speak right now in different parts of the country. We've seen reports from different states. The labor union is out on the streets. Civil society organizations are all out on the streets protesting. We've also heard reports. We've also heard some of their, demands and some of their, protests. We hear from Lagos where the labor union is saying that Lagos state government is acting as a hypocrite, not responding to the yearnings and the sufferings of ordinary Nigerians living in Lagos, and just only trying to put out palliative measures 48 hours to the planned protest. That's from Lagos State. Here in River State, we have people on the street on the Quarry Road protesting the harsh conditions that government has plunged Nigerians into. And it's happening everywhere. What's your reaction to this protest generally?
Well, I did not expect so much turnout. Okay, and I'm seeing the results personally. Some persons out there might be like, "Oh, come on, the numbers were much," especially in Abuja, where protesters turned down the gates of the National Assembly. Now, you ask the reason why is it that we are not having that massive turnout like back in the days in that
Occupy Nigeria,
yes,
where the whole country was put on hold.
Exactly. So why are we not getting this energy now? I think it is because of Nigerians have gone weak. Nigerians are now weak. In fact, there is not even energy. Back then, you would eat, then have energy to come and make some noise
Yeah.
or make some sound. But now, no energy to come outside and talk.
Yeah.
Okay, Nigerians are seeing it that the protest will not even yield results. Okay,
Exactly.
yeah, Nigerians are seeing it from that angle, and I also do not blame Nigerians because we've seen a labor groups that you cannot trust, that are not sincere to themselves, that can sell people out. Yeah, that's the kind of labor groups that we have in this country. Okay, and people have also known the fact that these comrades in
Yeah.
quotes, that they use this opportunity to amass wealth, amass popularity. Okay, and at the end of the day, they dump the people, and you know where I'm going to. So, in River State,
Yeah.
the turnout, I did not expect so much. Okay, but I need to say something about Lagos. I was in Lagos last week, and you will see there is hunger.
Yeah.
You see the feel of hunger in Lagos. You will see people littered, not doing anything. Oh, I've not been to Kano, but I'll be shocked that Lagos will not do more numbers in terms of beggars and people not with jobs than Kano. That is to tell you we are in a dire situation in this country, Mr. Bule.
Yeah.
The Labour, they've come out, good cause, no two ways about that. After all, like I said in the previous episode, that Nigerians were expecting that the refineries should be working. Had it been the refineries were working, we will not be using our resources to buy, and we're going to buy with profit. People will make profit, and at the end of the day, we'll sell at a high price. Reason why we have nowadays fuel stations, filling stations owners have put up their filling stations for sale because there's no business.
They're unable to manage the high cost of doing that same business.
Of course. How many people nowadays, in fact, if they see you in a fuel line that you're filling up your time, my brother, you are a stone would do.
Yes, you are.
Many times what people buy now is 10 liters at max. Just give me that 10 liters, let's move. Okay, so it has made, and Nigeria is a land of filling stations. Okay, and it has made many fuel stations there. Nobody is coming in. Some of them they've even shut down. I won't want to mention names. They've shut down, that nothing is happening there anymore. So the hunger is real. Will this protest be beneficial for Nigerians at this point in time? I see this government as yes, they want to really kickstart on a good note.
Yeah.
But I think this would be too much on them as it stands right now. Are you telling them to revert back? My brother, the regime have started. The regime of no subsidy, it has started. And the president have come out to say, see, we've saved 1 trillion naira. This is where I want to pump in this money. Left for me, I would say the labor, why do I always want to call them Labour Party? The labor union should come out and, will I say, press the government, the current government, to bring about more palliatives. Yes, they've stated some out there, but we need more of these palliatives. One. Secondly, they should demand that public office holders, okay, their wages should be cut down.
For now, at least.
We want to save money.
Yes, for now. Temporarily.
Yes. We need to find means to reduce the cost of governance. That should be where the bone of the contention right now. Okay? And also, if we cannot manage these refineries, my brother, sell them off. I know that in Nigeria, when we are selling Nigerian assets, there's a whole lot of games that are being played. Okay? But if it's choking that we cannot manage these assets, my brother, we will still be useful.
Yeah, I agree with you. The labor is demanding for some very key and interesting or making sense kind of demands. Let me put it that way. When they say, okay, that the government They moved on from the point where the government declared, the subsidy removal hastily. But then, what is delaying certain things and certain expectations of Nigerians are not heard, or they didn't hear it in the presidency. I told you when we're on this program on Monday that the presidential speech that was meant to happen that evening, I believe, was meant to, or is geared towards trying to foil or stop the Labour from going on this protest. But unfortunately, the Labour is saying that the president did not address most of the things that they expected him to address. Things like him promising Nigerians or making moves to revive the refineries that are, in comatose. That these refineries need to be revived so that Nigerians are not, or the petroleum sector is not left to market forces, as they, boldly say it every now and then. There's now like a statement of pride when they say, it's market forces that are controlling the prices. It's no longer federal government. Shame on them for even saying that. That's what the Labour is saying. You don't say that in a country where we have greatly relied and survived on this subsidy. You fed us with milk. The only milk, the very only one that Nigerians get from the millions that have been stolen every day, the very one that Nigerians are holding on to, you taking it off their hands, which is quite okay. But while you took that off, what are you doing to manage the crying baby that is so loud at this time? You just shut down everything. You said they should endure. For how long? Okay, so there were no measures prior to removing the subsidy. And so now Nigerians are in a deep mess. How quickly are you moving to resolve these things? We talked about, the Labour had earlier moved for salary increment in terms of minimum wage. And that is taking like forever. We've not even heard the federal government side of saying, okay, the Labour proposed 200,000 naira as minimum wage. We've not heard their side saying, okay, we are going to meet in the middle, or say, let's go 30% of 200 or 50% of 200,000 naira. The Labour is saying that the federal government is not coming out fully sincere with what they want to do in this very terrible state now. And that's why they are coming to protest to say this is really unfair hardship that is being meted on Nigerians. So the federal government should rise up to their responsibility as quickly as possible, as quickly as they also thought it right to remove the subsidy from the very first day they got into office. That also has, as quickly as they should address the situation on ground. And for me, I feel that even though the protest is not, Nigerians are not really embracing it 100%, but to some extent, I feel that the government should see that, yes, this is a likely thing that will happen more often if they continue on this path of, continue to put heat on Nigerians, undue heat, if you ask me, because they have 4 years in Nigeria. It has become almost a tradition where we'll say 8 years for this new administration. Most likely, they will get back into office again, except a miracle, I say it that way, except a miracle removes them. So you have between 4 and 8 years to work on all of this. Why start the way you started and then put this much pressure on Nigerians, and it's getting too much? So when you have done so, also be ready to, as they say, Nigerians should endure. They too should quickly, they should endure the pressure too coming from the Labour Union is the only voice that the masses, I don't like using that word, but then let's use it because that's what best describes the most Nigerians that are, poor or that has been plunged into poverty line, and they are shouting. This is the only medium that can lend their voice to the pain and hardship they feel. So yeah, I feel that the federal government should listen and listen attentively and do what needs to be done and on time. Because just like they were accusing the Lagos State governor of not doing anything to help to ease the pain and pressure of transportation in Lagos State. People are paying. I have a cousin in Lagos, and I was asking her the other day, how much do you now pay, going to the island when you have to go there? And she said from the mainland to the island, if she and this is not Uber, she jumps buses and all of that. She spends between 3,000 to 3,500 going there.
Wow.
So to go there and come back in one day, you have spent 6,000 naira. If you ever try to do any of the e-hailing transportation, you'll be spending between 10 and 20K going from the mainland to the island in one day. Who would be able to afford that? So you see, this is why they are saying that the governor of Lagos State has been playing some kind of game with Lagosians for responding barely 48 hours to when they say they will go on the street to protest before he's announcing a price slash in the bus fares, the BRT bus fares for Lagosians. The same bus fare he slashed down, for almost 2 months before the elections to garner support from Lagosians. So you see, this is what Labour is saying, that politicians should stop playing politics with the lives of Nigerians. And they should go ahead and take up the responsibilities that they swore to, which is protecting lives and property, helping people to have a say and have the right to live. But people are dying every day. It's not on the news because they are not big people that are dying. But people are suffering. People are committing suicide. It wasn't a common thing in Nigeria,
In Nigeria.
but now we see people, taking their own lives because of the pressure. Even though that's not what we encourage at any time, people, because if you die, this is how I used to say it in our local parlance here in PG. I say if you die, now you lose, because a living dog is way, 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 way better than a dead lion. So keep holding on. It's a tough time, but we want to believe that the government will be responsible enough to do what is right and get us out of this very tough situation in due time. All right, to our next paper for today, and that will be Daily Trust newspaper for today, the second day in the month of August 2023. And on Daily Trust here, we have as headline, UK announces £10 million facility to support food security in Nigeria. You find that story on page 28, or page 20, I beg your pardon, of the Daily Trust newspaper. We also see here, subsidy, marketers selling filling stations over poor sales profit. Ipman, the same thing you were saying earlier.
Okay.
People are selling off their places. They cannot handle this business again. It is beginning to turn into rich men's business, and it shouldn't be like that. All right. We also see on Daily Trust, 2 rescued as helicopter crashes into building in Lagos. Actually, it's not a helicopter. It's a jet. It's a small jet, and it had just 2 pilots on board when it crashed. But good thing, miraculously, as in it's the miracle of the year, or maybe for the century itself, because how that plane fell in the middle of a busy street in Lagos, Obakran, if you know Lagos very well, it's not a backyard street, it's a busy street in Lagos. The plane fell right there on that street, dodged or missed a filling station, a bank. There was a bank right there, UBA branch, right there, busy branch. Not just that, there were people walking to and fro the streets. There were bikes. It fell right behind a tanker, a fuel tanker that was just passing by. I also saw a Hilux pass by, and then it fell right there and rolled into another side street with nobody, no pedestrian killed. Then the pilots who somehow they came out alive, injured though. We saw photos of one of them, being walked. That I found that photo very ridiculous though. If truly that's one of the pilots, that he was being helped and he was walking. I mean, thank God he's not dead, but I mean the guy just fell off the sky and he's they're aiding him in a walk to some ambulance or something. I mean, Nigerians, we have mind though. But thank God it was a miracle of the year. Lives were not lost. What a report.
Yes.
No casualties. That's how it was said. Wonderful. All right, so we move on to the big story still on the Daily Trust here. It says, police on alert as Labour begins protest nationwide. Disperse anti-subsidy protest in Kano, workers adamant in Oyo. All right, we also see here union insists on fuel subsidy, school fees reversal, orders. We know they'll listen to us. But Biamila saying, that was before today, when it was being interviewed, it was like the labor has listened, they will not come out to the streets too. But then, has the government listened? That's the question. Have they really listened? Have they gone ahead to do what the labor is asking for? And then, still on the Daily Trust, we see here legal fireworks as tribunal set to rule on Tinubu's election. I scored 24% in above half of FCT. I scored 24% in above half of FCT. Tinubu there. I read part of electoral process. 355 billion naira spent on it. Atiku Obi. Petitioners couldn't prove claim on electronic collation of results. INEC. You find details of all of this on page 18 of the Daily Trust newspaper. All right, Victor, let's talk on this matter. The tribunal kind of like did their final proceedings yesterday, and they have stalled judgment, although all the councils have said they have put out their papers and they've gone ahead to do as much as is required of them. So now the decision and the judgment, the final judgment, is now in the hands of the judges. How do you see this playing out? What do you think would be the outcome of this?
Okay, is it a bishop or a primate that said that the judges, the future of Nigeria is in the hands of these judges? Okay, but I need to make this point. Okay, we already know that for the PDP are saying that this election there should be a rerun or declare Atiku the president.
Yes.
Okay, on what ground are they coming after? They're coming after that for the fact that INEC has presented service that they rendered for spending 335 billion naira, that they did not meet up to what they told Nigerians they were going to do.
Yeah.
Why are we going to spend that kind of money and you are giving us this shabby kind of election? So for that sake, the umpires did not do their job. So this election should be cancelled and let them have a rerun. That's on one side. For Labour Party, one of their strongest points, mind you. Then for Labour Party, one of their strongest points too, they're talking about the 25% requirement for the FCT. I'll come back to that. Then for the APC are saying that, oh, come on, the election should not be nullified because the people have spoken their mind. Are you going to nullify what the people have chosen? Okay. Then for INEC is saying, see, yes, we have some glitches. Okay. But we did our job.
Yeah.
Okay. Now going to the 25% of getting 25% in Abuja. The APC and even the INEC are saying that FCT should be the 37th state and not just a state on its own or an entity on its own. But I want us to have this in mind. I know Nigeria Constitution has issues. No two ways about that. To interpret many parts of the Constitution, you find out that you might just have to overcrack your head. Something that is supposed to be direct and straight. Okay? But yes, these issues come in. Most nations see issues like this come in and they try to rejuvenate their constitution. But in terms of Nigeria, and especially for the FCT, FCT is not a state. And for me, I think it should not be regarded as a state. Will I say, the US being the country that we copy democracy for, have almost same thing as the FCT, which is the Washington DC.
Yeah.
So, if you go side by side, bring out FCT, bring out Washington DC, and ask, Washington DC is not a state, neither is it even a city. It is a district, District of Columbia, DC. Why the FCT is a territory, an area. being our capital. In the US, they still have Washington State, mind you. That is not Washington, D.C. The capital of Washington State is Olympia. And it's a state on its own. By the Constitution of America, America does not recognize Washington, D.C. as a state. Okay? Well, these are the things that our Constitution, if it's not being written well, it should be written
clearly
in ink, in full ink, and oh, come on, make it bold for Nigerians to know. But that is why we have a case like this, and I hope that at the end of the day, these things will be resolved. But the major issue for me, yes, they have the judges have set aside the judgments to come at a particular day. They've not released the date. But these, what we are experiencing with all these election matters shouldn't occur the next time. Okay? Be it INEC and be it the other parties, be it just the entire institution on its own, should note that in the next election, we need to have a much better, a much better election than what we had this time around. Okay, so let's see how it goes. It's getting closer, and I know that maybe this August they might just announce a date. Right now, the judges are thinking out their minds on how this will pan out.
Well, yeah, because somehow the constitution has it looking as though they are being roped in, especially with the issue of the 25% in Abuja. And there's also the matter of Obi not qualified for a rerun. That issue is also up, and that is being pushed by the APC council, and they're saying even if the election or there's a rerun, Obi is not the candidate that should be considered.
It's most likely, Mr. Abdul, sorry for continuing, it's more likely because even from the results, they are not doing counting. There will be no counting. None of these parties submitted a prayer that the election should be recounted. Okay, meaning that Obi will be noted as being third position. So in the case where Ahmed Bola Tinubu, the president, the current president, is not being nullified or his candidature not being thrown out, just like what the PDP is also praying about, that means that if they eventually have a rerun, P2B will not be on the ballot.
So it will be the PDP and the APC having that rerun. But then, like rightly you have said, all of that now hangs in the balance and in the hand of the judges. They're going to give a final statement whenever they announce that date. We're hoping that it doesn't throw Nigerians into more confusion. Let it be something that I don't know. I just feel that the judgment at the end of the day will shake Nigeria. Yeah, we are hoping the whole world is watching. All right, we're going to move on to our next paper, but that will be right after this very short break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey there. Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Tharv Media give life to your dreams. Tharv Media, a slice of infotainment.
All right, you're welcome back from that very short break, and we want to thank you for watching up to this time. We're still doing the newspaper headlines, so if you're just joining us, you're welcome and you're right in time as we go to our next paper for the day, and that will be Daily Sun newspaper. And on Daily Sun here, we have as headline, Anxiety as Tribunal Reserves Judgment. Counsel to Tinubu, Atiku, Obi adopt final addresses. Heaven won't fall if I'm declared winner, PDP candidate tells court. We've proved our case, says LP lawyer. All right, details of all of that you find on page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. We also see here at the very top part of this Daily Sun, troops destroy more IPOB ESN camps in Anambra. Imo Forest, arrest 5, injure scores. Find details on page 4 of the Daily Sun. Moving downwards, no going back on nationwide protest. Vows NLC dismisses report of shelving rally. No room for violent protest. IGP warns. Orders watertight security. I beg your pardon. Watertight security nationwide. Also, we see here on the Daily Sun, Nigeria's foreign reserves in dire situation. Senate warns. Cautions against further naira depreciation. That details on page 8 of the Daily Sun. Federal government spent over 3 trillion naira to save power sector from collapse. NESD, page 2 is where you get details of that story. All right, let's get into our conversation for today, and we'll take on the headline: Troops destroying more IPOB BSN camps in Anambra Emu Forest. It looks as though every time they destroy these camps, but somehow they still find their way back. And so, what do you think is going on?
I think the government, they are giving them a real fight this time around, and it's looking like will I call them not iPod have said that, see, they are not the ones doing this. So the faction of iPod, that's the Simon Eber faction, that might be the ones doing this, are now being hit hard by the government. Look at what is happening in Onitsha. Find out that, like today, businesses are flowing. People have said, see, enough is enough. We cannot be kept at home again. And this time around, you want to keep us at home for 2 straight weeks. So they are losing grip with the indication here. Even in Obosi was combed. Okay, some forests down the bushy, down in Anambra State have been raided, and both champs collected. As in, they are really giving them a big fight. Okay, but now the issue is about how they'll be able to sustain this, and how can the people be able to have lasting solution about it. Because at the end of the day, with antecedent things that have happened, you find out that there might just be, will I say, slowdown in activities of this Simon faction, and all of a sudden
they're back
again with a bang. So how will they be able to gather up intelligence? Because at the end of the day, if we have had a good structure and good intelligence, oh come on, this could have been sorted out long before.
Yeah, I've said this still on our program in the past that the government needs to rise up, especially in the southeast here. The governors within this southeastern region, they need to really wake up and start to push back these terror forces that are causing so much unrest down here, and they are making people lose so much innocently. They lose lives, money, businesses, and all of that. So it's a good thing that they are beginning to respond to these guys. The people living in this region too are also saying we're tired. This is what we want, but I don't think we want it this way, where we the people that are demanding for this independence are the ones paying the price in the hands of our own people, not in the hands of government too.
Yes.
Because the Nigerian government has not been going down to the southeast to kill people. Rather, they've been helping people in the southeast to stay safe, despite all the protests and drama that has gone down in the southeast. So it is just wise that people from the southeast begin to wake up and say, enough is enough. Let's look for another means of pushing forward our demands and our want to get a new country or to detach from Nigeria. Not in this manner where people that say, okay, we want to be at the forefront of it, are the ones killing the followers. I mean, I don't get it. It's insane. And that clearly shows you that these are not people that mean well for both the Southeasterners and Nigeria in general. So I'm very happy that federal government, the military, is really rising up to the occasion and beginning to give these guys the heat, going to them in their own den, not waiting for them to attack before responding. Being proactive and going to them to give them the heat. It's a good thing. It will really destabilize them. But just like you rightly said, we hope that this It's not just going to be something for the now.
Yeah.
Let it be sustained.
Yes.
Let the force and the energy be sustained. The same way the fight against Boko Haram was sustained for a very long time now, that has mellowed down, and we're hoping that it doesn't raise its ugly head again. Somehow it looks as though Nigerian government has been able to take control of that fight, even though we still see attacks from, pocket attacks from different areas over there in the north. But we're hoping that down here, this will be brought under total control. All right, I want to thank you, Victor, for coming on the program.
Thank you, sir.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for staying with us and watching up to this time. But this is where we're going to draw the curtains for today's program. Don't forget to connect with us on all our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and of course on Twitter. And of course, subscribe while you're here. Don't go anywhere without subscribing. Until next time we come your way again, my name is William Sabule, and this has been the Newspaper Review on TAP TV.